Hello, everyone, and welcome to Epic Mind Visions. Today, I want to talk a little bit about how I lost everything at around age 50, and it was the greatest gift of my life. At the time, I was working in a corporate legal department as an attorney. I was rising the ranks. I thought I was going to be this big shot attorney in the company. It's a major, major company. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get the big salary and drink the expensive wine and do all the things. And a whole bunch of things happened that threw me off course because that life just wasn't meant for me. I can look at it now, I'm 57. I can look back at my journey and really, really know for sure in the deepest parts of my soul that that path wasn't for me. So, what happened was my wife fell into addiction with alcoholism and couldn't really function. So, I had an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old at the time, and I got to take on the responsibility of caring for them. In the process, because of all my personal challenges, I really couldn't function at work, and I got kind of laid off or pushed out of the company eventually around 2014. And I thought my dream was to go into startups and be general counsel of a startup, and I went and did that. And they got a bunch of funding, like $15 million. The new advisors came in and they said, "Why do you have general counsel? We can outsource it." And I got laid off before any of my shares vested or anything, or any of my equity vested. So I lost really everything in a moment. I lost my marriage. I lost my job and my career basically because as time progressed, I just couldn't function at all. And through that whole process, I had to figure out who I was and who I wanted to be and reinvent myself, recreate myself. And so I've done that over the past 10 years or so, and it's been an amazing journey. So I just want to impart this kind of story to you so that you know that no matter what's happening in your life right now, you can always overcome very extraordinary things. And sometimes that is the hero's journey that we need to take to find the deeper meaning of life and the things that really matter to us. So the catalyst for getting through all of this was I had a mentor at the time. He's very wealthy and successful and had all the things, and he would go back east and from California where I lived at the time, he would go back east, and I would see him on Facebook doing yoga. The first thing he did when he got back, when he got cross country, was he would do yoga. So we were having coffee one morning. I said, "Hey, what's that all about?" And he said, "Well, it's the most important thing I do every day." And I said, "The most important thing? Like, that's crazy. I couldn't even wrap my head around that." He said, "Yeah, try it for 30 days and then, see how it works for you." So I had done stretching and martial arts and things, but I couldn't even connect with yoga and the spiritual aspects of it. So I would just call it stretching on a mat. But I took his advice and I started signing up for classes, or actually I started doing it at home at first. I would do 20 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of meditation, and 20 minutes of journaling. And after about 3 weeks, we had coffee again, and he said, "How's that working out for you?" And I was like, "Wow, like, why wouldn't everybody do this? This is amazing." And it just felt so good to ground my physical being, my body, my mind, and my spirit to really align and to be more coherent in who I was being and what I was doing and what I was thinking and what I wanted from life. So that journey led me into doing yoga every single day for a year and a half and almost every day for 3 years. And I went into studio yoga and did all kinds of crazy, crazy release, and just like, it was amazing to reconnect to myself physically in that way and really push myself and to find the healing that has come out of that. So eventually, I went into other modalities. I had a girlfriend. I had a very bad shoulder uh, pain because I was doing yoga like way too hardcore for that long, for that consistently, and so she was into passive stretching. So instead of doing active yoga, we would do passive stretching together, and she taught me all about that. She was an admin for a holistic doctor in Orange County, so she taught me all about holistic living and holistic healing and all kinds of herbs and just everything under the sun. So that whole process helped me through and helped me to gain more clarity in what I really wanted for my life. And like I say, I've really reinvented myself over the past 10 years into a completely different version of myself where I'm more joyful, I'm more grounded, I'm more loving, I'm way more healed. I ended up around 2018 doing ayahuasca multiple times and have done some since then, but haven't done it in about 3 years. So I have that aspect of it, and just have really dove into like sound healing and a bunch of other modalities that have helped me to release the trauma around everything that I experienced in my childhood and probably led to a lot of the things that really caused the fallout of my marriage ultimately, or triggered her addiction patterns and things like that. So it's been an amazing journey, and I just think that trusting the process and really grounding into what you want and having the opportunity to, like I say, it's a gift because it wasn't something that I chose. And people come to me and they're like, well, how are you the way you are? Now they see me more joyful, they see me more calm, they see me more grounded, they see me more accepting of my situation and not rattled by things that happen around me. And they're like, wow, where did that come from? And I think it really just comes down to um, healing all of those parts of ourselves that are unhealed, and that comes from a lot of childhood trauma and things like that. So over the years, I have continued to grow and learn and be curious, and I think that the reason why I continue to be youthful at my age is because I have that childlike curiosity for the world, and that nothing can rattle me. And going back to, I was going to say that some people say, oh, well, how did you get this way? And as if it were a choice, but it wasn't a choice. It was like the universe, we say Gus, God, universe, source, energy, whatever you want to call it, gave me the opportunity to reinvent myself by stripping everything away, everything I thought I was, everything thought I wanted to be, everything that I thought was my reality was basically stripped away in a very, very short period of time. So it wasn't a conscious choice. It was the universe telling me. And I think that in retrospect, the universe has like a little bit of a self-correcting mechanism where it will like tap you on the shoulder and try to tell you and whisper in your ear, you know, that you might be on the wrong path, or that a different path might be uh, better for you. But if you don't listen, or if I didn't listen, so then there's like a cattle prod, and then there's like a complete stripping away of everything. And I got everything stripped away. So that's led me to be able to release and surrender to the process in a way that I think not very many people get the opportunity to in this lifetime, because of the way it happened for me and because I feel like so connected to that process. So if you're in your, you know, coming up on 50, if you're in your 50s or your 60s or whatever, like think about how much you've been programmed. And I don't mean like the Matrix, that too, but how much you've been programmed by the things that you experienced in your childhood, in the patterns that you run over and over and over again, because you don't really have that enough awareness of them. And one thing yoga helped me do is to gain awareness of them, of these things, and to start to see them in a different way that allowed me to process them and to transmute them. We say to release them, to go back to that energy, to match it, and then to allow it to release through myself, body, mind, and spirit. And that has been the, like I say, the greatest gift of my life. And I can't imagine my life still being on the path that I was on. Is just crazy to think about, as difficult as the path always is, and as difficult as my path today is. I can't imagine going back to that path and having those things as my North Stars, those things that I wanted, or I thought that I wanted, or I thought that would be right for me. I can't imagine going back there. So if you're struggling, just know that there is another way, and you can process through these things and to gain this level of awareness about your process and to heal through. There's a million modalities, and some of them are a little bit more out there on the fringes, but there's a lot of modalities that are just as simple as doing yoga or stretching, or some other like eating practices and things like that that you can do to help yourself move through all this. So if you connect with that, subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out more content. I'm going more authentic. I've gone into realms of really high level conceptual spirituality, um, videos and things like that in the past on this channel. I've interviewed some amazing people on the podcast, so watch those. But if you want to connect to this more authentic version as I start to put more content on here, then subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Peace.